Every day, the National Cattlemen's Beef Association works to protect the economic, political, and social interest of the U.S. cattle industry. And joining us now to discuss those efforts is NCBA's CEO, Colin Woodall. Colin, New World screwworm is still a prevalent issue in our industry, and I'm curious, how confident is NCBA in terms of the steps that have been taken to eradicate this pest?
Secretary of Agriculture Brooke Rollins has done a tremendous job in committing both the resources and in making the decisions to help us be prepared to ultimately fight back and win the battle against the New World screwworm. In particular, she has designated money and facilities to be built that will provide our own domestic production facility for New World screwworm sterile flies and a dispersal facility to ensure that we can get them out into the wild. Both of those are going to be key components to our overall success. We know that sterile insect technology, which is taking these sterile flies and fooling the females into thinking they have been bred, is still the best option to win this battle. But she's also committed money to look at new technologies. And I believe that when you look at today's battle against the New World screwworm, compared to where we were in the 60s and 70s, technology has changed. And we have mapped the entire genome of the New World screwworm fly, so we know what every gene does. That's going to give us an opportunity to find some new tools, and the Secretary has the money committed to explore those as well.
That's great news. You know, really, this pest identifies, or highlights, I should say, the susceptibility of our industry to disease and pests on a broad scale. I'm curious, what are the steps that NCBA is taking to kind of leverage this moment to create more preventative measures for all of us to prevent against either pests or diseases of the future?
Of course, education is key. We need to make sure that producers understand the pest and disease pressures and threats that are out there, especially from foreign animal diseases. And it's incumbent upon NCBA and the role that we play, especially with our producer education programs, to get that messaging out there, because there's a lot of very simple things that producers can do to protect themselves. Biosecurity is absolutely key for any operation. And a lot of times when producers think about biosecurity, they think about all sorts of gates, alarms, bells, and whistles. And sometimes it's just as simple as asking your guests to put booties over your boots or to know where your guests have been. So NCBA is focused on doing programs through Cattlemen's College, through our stockmanship and stewardship programs, and also through webinars to educate on very simple biosecurity steps that producers can take. So we encourage everybody to go to our website, look at our resources, and see how they apply to your operation.
So boil it down for us, Colin. What can producers do today to prepare for the arrival of the New World screwworm?
You have to have a relationship with your veterinarian. And if you don't have one, find one quickly, because veterinarians are that first line of defense in helping us beat back New World screwworm. It's also important to understand who your state animal health official agency and officer is, because you're going to need to take samples of the larvae and be able to send them in for testing, and your veterinarian will be able to help you with that. But also make sure that you are a part of your local state cattlemen's associations and NCBA, because we have a ton of resources available to help you identify what the fly looks like, what the larva looks like, and also what the life cycle of that particular fly actually is. Because one of the things that I think producers don't appreciate right now is just how much more time they're going to have to spend in among their cattle. Because that life cycle is pretty quick. It's a matter of hours from the point that the egg is laid until it hatches and the larva can find its way into the animal. So if you didn't have a problem on Tuesday, it doesn't mean that you're not going to have a problem on Wednesday. And so being out in among your cattle and looking at them very closely is also a key component that all producers need to be ready for.
Thank you so much for that insight on a very, very important threat to our industry.